All right, welcome back to Get Simplified channel. We are going to start now. Thank you all for joining today's lesson. And today we are going to focus mainly on spreadsheet. Right, so I'm going to share the screen with everyone. And then I'm going to focus on spreadsheet. So I will share these data files with everyone right now. And then after that, then we start. Right, it says grade 12 practical. Then I'm going to share the link under the comment section. Now, yesterday we focused on Microsoft Word and then the topic that you should take note. Then I've also prepared this paper 1, June 2025 examination preparation guide. So before I start the spreadsheet, I would like to share it with you as well. Forget about this. This is just an example. The mark allocations. Like I've been telling you all the time that Microsoft Word caters for about 50 marks, and then spreadsheet also 50, and then database 35, then HTML 15, and then spreadsheet also 50. Now, this guide here is just talking about the topics that you should take note. So when it comes to the spreadsheet, which is mostly question 4 and 3, which I'm going to highlight right away. Right, so I'm going to just share the link, then you can make use of it. It's a grade 10, grade 12 practical. Yeah, if it's not uploaded, let me try and upload again. Right, so this is the guideline that you must know for spreadsheet question 3, question 4, and also question 7. Now, for question 3, mainly will be formatting, basic functions, and then sometimes they will put functions like count ifs, and then sum ifs, and then some formulas question, which can be maybe discount and percentage, increase or decrease. Right, so basically the question 3 will be the formatting, the functions, and then using the formula with a discount, percentage increase, discounted prices, and others. Then the question 4, sometimes the questions will be chart, VLOOKUP or XLOOKUP. So V or X lookup or H lookup. Right, and then text functions, conditional formatting, date and time calculations, and other functions and formula calculations as well. So basically, this is what is expected from you. You need to know these topics before you start your June examination question paper. I will share this document also with you in the various platforms. The link is also there which you can get access to it. So I want to check if it is done, then I can now share the link with you. Yes, here is it. So I can now try and share. Right, I can share with you in the comment section. Right, so if you have any question, don't forget, if I teach any topic and then I want to proceed, I'll always check the comment section. If you have any question, you can add it there. Right, now, let's start with I will choose June question papers from different years. So I will first of all start with the 2024 June question paper. So I have the question with me. Right. Now move straight to question number 4. Or let's start with question 3. It says, insert 3 logo image in cell A1 and adjust it as follows. So we are going to insert an image in cell A1. So we will open 3 workers spreadsheet from June 2024. So if you have gotten access to the file, you can also join me and then we do it together. Now we have cell A1 here. Now the question says we have to insert an image so that we will adjust the image like that. Now we are going to insert picture and then we will adjust the picture there as you see. So insert picture. Now it can be placed in a cell or placed over cells, depending on what the question says. Now you say we must place it inside the cell or over, but then we will adjust it. You can choose any of them. We will still adjust the size. And now June 2024 question paper. That is 3 logo. Now you can see that it goes beyond the cell, so we need to change the size of this picture. So when you select the picture, you see picture format, and then you see the size. Just like in Microsoft Word, you click there to change the size. Don't forget to take lock aspect ratio to remove it. So lock aspect ratio should not be there. We have to remove it. Now, according to the question, the size 2,75 and then 5,01. So here should be 2,75. And then here should be 5,01. Right. So now we have the exact size that fit into that cell. Right. So that's how we insert an image into a cell. And then if you want to adjust the size, right. Now we move straight to the next question. Fill cell C1 with a thin reverse diagonal stripe pattern style in orange accent 6. Now, this is C1. So we are going to change C1 with a specific fill color. Now, how do we do that? To fill in, you just right click and then you see format cells. You right click, choose, you see format cells is easier. And then you go to fill. Now the question says you must use pattern style. Remember, they can even ask you to choose a gradient style. So grade 12, when it comes to filling, it can be a pattern style or a gradient fill. So the gradient fill, you just go to fill effect. Then you can choose the gradient fill, the 2 colors you want to choose. And then whether diagonal down or diagonal up, which the question will tell you what to do. Now, we don't need to move on with it. Now it says we must use what do you call it? A gradient fill, not a gradient fill, pattern style. So right click, format cells, fill. Now we use the pattern style. According to the question, the pattern style should be thin reverse diagonal stripe. So you go to the style and look for that name. Here is it, thin reverse. This is the one, thin reverse diagonal stripe. You choose it. Then they can ask you to choose a specific color as well. And it says it should be orange accent 6. So that's the color. You look for the orange color. Each of them has a name. This is the orange accent 6. This one is another name here. That's orange accent 6 lighter. So all these are orange accent 6 to any of them. And then you click OK. So basically, this is what the question wants us to do, to fill in with a pattern style or a gradient fill. So that's how we do the filling part. Now, the next question says, use conditional formatting in column H to display the 5 bottom ranked values in bold. Now, this is conditional formatting to display the 5 bottom ranked values in bold. Now, in column H, this is column H. So you select the value. Please, whenever you are applying the conditional formatting, make sure that you don't include the heading, only the values, because sometimes they penalize learners who select the entire column. So you must select the values. Then conditional formatting. Now, like I said, conditional formatting or any other thing, you can also use tell me what to do or search. So you type the keyword. So here, conditional. It will give you, and then you choose, you can select manage rules, or you can choose any of these. But then here, the question is talking about the 5 bottom rank. So we choose conditional formatting, top bottom rules, and then we choose top 10 items or the bottom 10 items. So if it's talking about the bottom, choose bottom 10 items. Now look at these top 10 items, top 10%, bottom 10 items, bottom 10%, above average, and below average. So basically, you must watch out for these questions. They can ask questions on about the above or below average or the bottom percentage. Again, they can ask questions about data bars. If you don't find a particular one here, you choose more rule. Color scales also, you go to more rule. Icon set, then go to more rules. Then you can choose the right icon set. Highlight cell rules, that is where we have greater than, less than, between, when you know the start value and where it is ending, equals to text that contains date occurring and duplicate values. So watch out for this conditional formatting. Here we choose bottom 10, and where it says 10, we change it to 5 because the question said that bottom 5. So we change it to 5, and then light red fill, we choose custom. Now let's check what we need to do. It says in bold, we should only do them in bold. So we just apply bold. They can ask you to choose the border and then fill in as well. So here we choose only bold and OK. So all the top or the bottom 10 will be bold automatically. Right. Let's say you made a mistake in conditional formatting and you want to make changes to that conditional formatting. When you go there, you'll find manage rules. Now, you just choose current selection if you have selected it, or you choose this worksheet, then you can now edit the row if you have made a mistake, or delete the row and start all over. So you can edit the row and then you make the changes to that row. Right, so basically, that is what you are supposed to do. Now we move to the next question. Insert a function in J3 to display the total salaries given in column H. Now here, the key word is the total. Now when you see total without the word number, then it means that you are going to use what we call sum function. Now when you see total number, we use count. So take notes. In most cases, they confuse learners by saying total number instead of total, just to confuse you. Right, so here we need to use sum. For question 3.4, we have to use sum function. Right. So you say 3.4, we must calculate the total annual salary. So total, we use the function called sum. Equal sign, sum, double click on the FX, then you go to the FX again, then you highlight the values under the annual salary, and then you click OK. So here it gives me hashtag, meaning that I must open or widen the column. Right, so this is the total annual salary, which is the sum. Now we move straight to the next question. Insert a formula in cell J3 to determine the monthly salary for each employee. Now, if this is the annual salary, now you are looking for the monthly salary. Now let's analyze this. When you talk about the annual salary, that means for the whole 12 months. Now they want a salary for 1 month. So we have to divide. So it should be equal sign. Click on the annual salary value divided by 12. Why 12? Because there are 12 months within a year. And okay, so this is our answer. Right, and you can autofill. To autofill, just double click here and to autofill everything for you. The next question says, the name and surname of each employee is stored in column B. Insert a combination of text function in C7 to extract the employee surname. You are allowed to use building block for 5 marks. Now, the question says the name and surname are kept here. Now we need to insert a function here to display the surname only. Now, what I want to advise you is that whenever you are doing this type of question, so here it's supposed to be in row 7. In the building block, you must do it in the same row. Don't start from the beginning. Take note. So it should be in the same row. Now, let's identify where is the surname and where is the name. So the name is the one beginning and the surname is the one at the end. So because the surname is at the end, we use the right function. Now, I want to show you this. Whenever you are dealing with such type of questions, and then whatever that you are retrieving is at the end. So we use the right function. And then we will also need len function to get the total number of characters. And we will also need the find function. That's when you are taking from the right-hand side. Now, if you are taking from the left-hand side, we need the left, and then you need the find function. So here, because we are taking from the right-hand side, we need to use the right function, the len, and find. But then if you are taking from the left-hand side, you need to use only the find and then the left. Now, I will break it down into a simpler way in the building block so that you'll be able to answer them properly. Now, the question says we must determine the one from the right-hand side, meaning that we have to use the right function. And like I said, the right function goes with the len, and then it also goes with the find function. Now, first of all, we must use the len function to determine the len. So equal sign the len. Then you click on fx. Then you go and click on the name and surname together, which is B7. So we got 14, which is the total number of characters, which is the len. Now let me highlight it to differentiate them. So this is the len. It means that the total number of characters here for Ashley Van Zyl is 14 characters. And then when you count, if you count from here, A, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, space is also included 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Hence, we got 14 as the total length. Now, remember, we are looking for only Van Zyl. This is the one that we are looking for, not Ashley. And it is on the right-hand side. Now, you can see they are separated by a space. There's a space in between these two. So Van Zyl is starting from the character after the space. So we have to determine what is separating between the name and surname, which is the space. Now we have to determine its position. That is why we need a find function. So we go there and put find function, equal sign, find. You click on fx. Now it says find text. What text are we finding? That is the space. So you press the space bar from your keyboard. Within text, where are we finding the space from? From B7. And then you click OK. So we got it also at 7. We got it at 7. Good. So this is the find value, and this one is the len value. Now, when you have these two, we go to the next column, and then you find the difference. In other words, you take out the smaller value from the bigger value. So that one is going to be equal sign, click on 14, which is the bigger value, minus the smaller value, which is the len value. So here is the answer that we are going to use. This is the answer that we are going to use as our number of characters for the right function. So this is the one that we are going to use. Now, so we go to the space there and you use equal sign right. Click on fx and it says text. The text, you click on B7. Number of characters. You go and click on the difference between the len and then the find, which is 7. Then you click OK. So here we got the answer right. Now, when we drag up and down, we still get the same answers. You see here, we don't get anything. Why is it so? Because from the building block, we need to also take it up. Good. Now it will automatically give us the surname for each of them. We can also do that and autofill. So whatever, if you are doing autofill, you must make sure that you autofill also in the building block so that they work the same. Right. So basically, this is how we do the find. Now, I want to show you something. What if these surnames, what if the surname and the name is having open bracket and then close bracket? Now here, we want to only take out the surname and name. Now you can see that it's giving me Van Zyl, including the open and close bracket. Now, when it is like this, you cannot use right function. You have to use the made function. Now, you can see that Van Zyl is not starting from the end, so you cannot use the right function. You have to use made function. Now, let's use the made function to get our answer right. Equal sign, made, and then you click on your fx. So the text will be this one. And then where is it, the start number? The start number will be the value for the find. The start number will be the value for the find. So here our find value is this one, 7. Sorry, let me go and click on the text again. This one. And then the start number will be the value for the find, which is in column, here. Right, so the value for find, and then the number of characters will be this answer, the one that you subtracted. This one. Now, it's giving me different answer. Oh, sorry, I chose the wrong one. It's supposed to be not B7. Yeah, here is it. Yeah. So you can see when I click OK, look at what it's giving me. It's giving me EY and that. So what is wrong? It starts from here. So give me wrong answer. So what do you have to do? First of all, you just do the start number will be the find value. Then you say +1. +1. Why do we say +1? The reason why we are choosing +1 is you are going to start counting after the position of the space. Sorry, okay, this one is the bracket separating it. So here we cannot use the space. Let me start all over this question. The find value here, we cannot use the space. Here we are finding the bracket, the open bracket. Good. We are finding the open bracket because Van Zyl starts from the open bracket, after the open bracket. So what is separating them should be the open bracket. Now, when we use our made function, start number will be +1, which is this value here. This one should be M7 +1. And then here the text should be B7. Now, so you can see we are getting it right. And then the number of characters is when you separate them. The number of characters will be this one when you say this minus that one. Now, look here, we must also say -1. Why are we saying -1? To take out the closed bracket. Because if I ignore -1, look at what it's going to give me. There is a closed bracket. Now I have to take out the closed bracket. That is why the number of characters, I must say -1. So when you have this type of question, the start number after getting the find value +1, and then the number of characters, you just say -1, so that you'll be able to get your right answer. This is where you have a situation like this, open and close bracket. You must use the made function. So it's going to be function like equals and made B7. B7 is the cell that contains the text. Now M7 +1. M7 is the find value that you got for the position of the open bracket +1. +1 meaning that you are going to extract from the text or the letter after the open bracket. And then N7, the N7 is the value for len minus find, then -1 meaning that you want to take out the closed bracket. So basically, This type of question can even be about 8 marks or so because it needs a lot of functions to be put together, right? So take note of that when you have such type of questions. Then again, what if we only want Ashley, which is from the left hand side? Then that we will use equal sign left. You click on FX, then the text is this one. The number of characters, like I said, we use the find value. Find value. So in this case, the find value is this one. Find value, then you say -1. Why -1? We want to take out the bracket. So you click OK. So this should be our answer. So it will be find -1. Right. So whenever you are using left, it should be find -1. But if you are using right function, you will need len minus what? Find. So take note of that so that you'll be able to solve any form of this type of text function. Right. Let me check from the comment section. If there's any question, you will let me know before I also check, and then I'll be able to address every question. Today is revision, so we will address every question that you may come across. Now, we move on to the next question, which says the gender is determined by the 7th digit of the ID number. That the males are indicated by the digit equal or bigger than 5. And then the female digit is less than or 5. Use a combination of functions in cell F6 to display the gender, male or female, of the ID. You are allowed to use the building block. So now let's check the question. Say the 7th digit. So here is the ID number. Now we want to extract the gender from here. Now the question says is the 7th digit. So we have to use the building block as well. We can go to the next column. To extract the 7th digit, you need to use what we call the mate function because it's not starting. So we use the mate function. So equal sign mate. And then you click on FX. Then the text will be the ID number, which is E6. Start number, we are starting from position 7. And then how many characters do we need? It's only 1 because according to the question, it says the number of characters, we need only 1. And then we click OK. So here it gives us 3, which is the 7th digit here, which is 3. Now, after this, we are going to put if statement. Now, according to the question, it says those who are female will be smaller than 5, and then the males will be more than 5 or equals to 5. So we are going to use the if function. So we put if statement here, equal sign, if. You double click on FX. Now, the logical text, you are now going to use the value inside the building block. So if 06 is less than or equals to 5, or they say less than 5, then it should be female. Otherwise, the value should be male. Right. So it will give you the answer. So first of all, this question, you must use a text function to extract it. And then after that, you make use of if statement. Now we go to question 4. I saw that somebody asked a question about when are we going to start with the theory? Yes, we are going to do theory revision on Tuesday. Yeah, Tuesday we have theory revision as well, to go through different questions and how the tips of solving theory questions. So we will do them either Tuesday, because most schools are also starting on Monday or on Tuesday. So after that, we will do theory question also. But then before that, I will send theory questions there, then we will discuss them. Right. Now let's move on to 4 records. So we are done with this one. And then we open 4 records. Now the question says, insert a function in cell L3 to determine the value that appears most often in column D. Now when you see the value that appears most, that means you use mode function to determine the value that appears most. So equal sign mode. You can use mode or mode single or mode multiple, depending on each other. You get the same mark. You click on FX. Now the question says the value that appears most. Now, which value are they referring to? We have to check it first, whether they are referring to the value that appears most in column D. So they are referring to column D. So we have to select the number of years. Right, we got 3. Now the next question says, insert a function in L4 to display the highest monthly salary. Now, when you talk about the highest, we use max. If you say second highest, we use large. So the highest, we can use max or we can use large as well. So now let me use large, equal sign large. And then you click on FX. Now the question is the highest monthly salary. So the array will be the monthly salary, which is column I. And then K, the highest, that means the first. When you arrange them from biggest to smallest, that will be the highest. So the K will be 1. If they say second highest, K will be 2. Third highest, K will be 3. The same as small. Small is used if you are determining the smallest value. So K can be 1, 2, or 3. So take note as well. Now, insert a count if function in cell L5 to determine the total number. Yes. So here, this question could have just say insert a function in L5 to determine the total number. And then whenever you see total together with number, it means count. But if you see total only, like total salary, total value, then it is sum. Now, because this question says the total number, so we have to use the function called count ifs. Why count ifs? Because the criteria or the conditions are more than 1. But remember, even if the criteria is 1, you will still get the same answer. So count ifs in grade 12, whenever you are finding the total number, whether the criteria is 1, 2, 3, or any criteria, use count ifs. Then if you are finding the sum, that's the total value based on criteria, use sum ifs also. Don't confuse yourself with count if or count ifs. Just stick to one function, which is count ifs, or you stick to sum ifs. Right. Now here, total number of females with a job title project manager. So now we are going to find total number of females with project manager. So we use count ifs. And then you click on FX. Now the criteria range 1. We go and look for the females, which is column F. You select the gender. Please make sure you don't select the heading. It's not part of the values. And then the criteria, we have selected female and then male here. Now we are looking for female. So you can type female or you use the wildcard called F asterisk. That means begin with letter F. Or alternatively, let me start with saying female. I will do another one. And then criteria range 2. They said those who chose project manager, column G. You select the job titles and then project manager. So you can type project, make sure you type it correctly. Right, and then you click OK. So we got 4. Now, this is one way of doing that. We can also make use of wildcard, =, count ifs. You click on FX, criteria range 1, you select the values and agenda. Then the criteria, we are looking for female, and female begins with F. So we can say, now here is female and male. So we can say F asterisk, or we can put asterisk F and then asterisk again. That means contain letter F. You know, male does not contain any F. So you say F, that's before and after. If you are going to confuse yourself with where should I put the star, if you don't know, put it before and after. The first letter, put it before and after, you are going to get it right. Now, criteria range 2 is column G. And then we are looking for project manager. Now, you check, project manager is the only one that starts with project. No, it's not the only one that starts with P. We also have production. We also have production. So we can just use wildcard and say project. That is star project star. That means contain the text project. And then okay. So we got 4 as well. So if you want to configure, we can just increase the number of text project to separate project from production. So you can just say even PROJ. You'll still get the right answer. To separate, we could have just typed PROJ like this. We will get the same answer. Right, that's star before PROJ and then star after. That means contains. Make use of wildcard for sum and count if. It will make your life easier instead of you to type. Maybe you might type and make a mistake. Please take note. Now, we move straight to the next question. Each employee will receive a certain percentage bonus of their monthly salary according to the number of years in service. Use an appropriate lookup function in cell J3 to find the bonus percentage each worker will receive. Find the lookup table in the bonus worksheet. Now, we have a worksheet that contains the bonus percentage. And these are the years 0, 2, 5, 10, 15, and 20. And these are the percentages. So we are going to take the percentages to that side in this column. Now we are going to use the years as our lookup values. Now, with this type of question, if you are using Office 365 or you are using Office 2019, I will advise you, learners, to make use of XLOOKUP. It's very easy to solve the question. Otherwise, if you are using the lower version, you can still use whether V or HLOOKUP. So I'm going to start with this one. First of all, go to the table and determine how is the table look like. Now, this table is looking like a vertical. So we use vertical lookup, that is in columns. So we are going to use vertical lookup. Now, if it was horizontal, like this. This is horizontal, that is H lookup. So if it is like this in a row, we use H lookup. If it is vertical like this, we use vertical lookup, V lookup. Now I'm going to start with X lookup. Now to do X lookup, this is what you need to do. First of all, give them different names. Give them different names. Now the first column, we give them different names. Don't include the heading. So we separate them by giving them different names. You select the number of years. Don't include the heading. You right click and choose define name. Why do we use define name? Because we want to make it absolute so that the table is restricted, it doesn't change. Then you can give it a name as A. Now look at it, it refers to with the absolute reference. Then column B, you do the same, right click, define name, and then you give it a name as B. So we have restricted both one. So in this case, we call this one lookup array. Array means that range. So this is the lookup array, and this one is return. The values that we are going to return, the value that we are taking to that side. So we must give it different name. So we come here and use equal sign X lookup. You click on FX. The lookup value, they say the number of years, and it should be on the same row. Then the lookup array is A. That's the first one that you gave the name to. The return array is B. And then when you are done, you go to match mode. Match mode, put -1. -1 meaning that it is an approximate. It's not the same. It's not the exact mode. Just like VLOOKUP, when we use false to determine the approximate or the true. Now we go -1 and then we get our percentage, so we can autofill. So X lookup will make your life easier. All that you need to do is give them different names, determining which one should be the lookup array and which one should be the return array. Then you know your lookup value. The lookup value is mostly on the left-hand side, which is part of the lookup array. Right. So that's all about the X lookup. Now, I can achieve the same answer by using what we call the VLOOKUP. Why am I using VLOOKUP? Because it's vertical. So what do you have to do? I will select for VLOOKUP or HLOOKUP, select the entire table, don't separate them. That's those of you using the lower version. You select, right click, define name. Let me give it a name as D, any name. Then I come here, equal sign VLOOKUP. Why VLOOKUP? Because it's vertical. So the lookup value will be the years of service. Table array, the name that you gave to the table, which is D. And then the column index, like we are taking from column 2. When you come here, we are taking the percentage, which is column 2. So the column index will be 2, the column that we are taking from. Now, always just make it as false. If it doesn't give you the right answer, you take it as true. So here it gives us NA. So meaning we must just type true. True is approximate. False is exact match. In other words, when you see 9 here and you go that side, you see 9 as well. But because these values were interval, we make it true and then we'll get the answer. Right. So basically, this is how we can solve this question. If it is horizontal like this, we use what we call H lookup. Also, we could have just highlighted, right click, give it a name, maybe F. Then I use equal sign H lookup. Why H lookup? Because it is horizontal. The lookup value is always the same. Table array, I gave it as F. And then I'm taking from row 2. Then I type through. So the same thing, you can also use H lookup to get your answer. But then H lookup, don't forget, should be horizontal. If the table is vertical, we use V lookup. Right, this is all about the lookup functions. Now 4.5, it says use the freeze pane feature to ensure that the contents in row 1 and row 2 remain on the screen if the user scroll down. So from row 1 and row 2 must always remain on the screen whenever you scroll down. So to do that, row 1 and 2 should always remain on top. So you move to the next row, in this case, row 3. You select row 3, and then use freeze pane. You can get it from view. Now, if you don't know where to find it, you can use tell me what to do freeze pane and choose freeze pane. So when I scroll down, row 1 and 2 will always remain on top. We can equally freeze a column as well. If I want row column A to always remain, column A and B to always remain, I go to the next column, which is column C. I select freeze pane from view, freeze pane, and then you choose freeze pane. Now, when I scroll to the right-hand side, column 1 and 2 will always be showing. Right. So basically, that's how we freeze column or we freeze rows. Right. If there's any question, don't forget, you can put it there. Somebody said, what is X lookup? X lookup caters for whether it is V or it is H. X lookup can solve for any lookup function. It's an alternative function to V or H function. So you can use it to solve all forms of lookup functions. Now we move to the next question, which is a graph. Now we have this graph that, according to the question, we must create a graph. They say open the graph worksheet and create a graph to resemble the one shown below. Now it says top 10 highly paid employees with a surname and name. Now, annual salary is there, and then it's also showing. Now they say the type of graph and then the direction. So you change all of them. You select the surnames. And then you hold down the control key because the annual salary is not in column B. Otherwise, it's not going to work. Now, if you are struggling, you can copy them, this one separate to another column and the other one, so that you can easily get your graphs done. If you don't know how to do it, hold down the control key. You have selected column A, hold down the control key, and then you go and select column C so that you can select both, excluding the job titles. And then you right click, or after that, you go to insert, you see column graphs. You get it under chart. We choose column. You can choose 3D or that the question didn't specify. Now, after this, we have to change the heading to top 10 highly paid employees. Right, so we change it. Then again, we are going to change the direction of this one. As you can see here, the direction was changed. So we click there, you right click and say format axis. Now, when you go there, it will show you, first of all, the exit options. It will show you also the next one, which says the alignment. So this is the exit options that has automatically selected, and others. We also have the tick marks. We also have the labels, and then we have the number, the distance, and everything you can choose. Now you go to the next, which is the alignment. That's where you see the text direction. Now, according to the question, I think it was rotated to 90 degrees. And it should be center in the middle. Right. So there are so many things that you can do there. Fill in with a 3D format. Don't forget, they can ask you to change them. And then also the soft edge, they can ask you all this. And then the filling also with the colors, and then the lines. If you want to change the lines also with the color, and then the width, the thickness of the lines, you can do that. Right. So we are done with the direction. You can just increase to see. This is the direction. And then let's check the graph again. Oh no, the direction was different. Let's check again. I made a mistake with the direction. Format axis. Now I changed the direction. I chose wrong one. It should be the other way around. Yes. And then after that, we check the graph again. You can see here the annual salary starts with 200,000. Let's check. Okay, it's fine. 200,000 is fine. You must always check that you have selected the right one. Otherwise, you can change the intervals also by clicking, right-clicking, and then you choose Format Axis. Then you can change it here. You can even have display units, or if you're starting with 0, or maybe you start with 100 and that. Then you can change the display units to maybe hundreds or thousands. Then it will be written there to change the scale. Watch out for that type of questions also. Right. Now, the next one is to change the colors. You click on them to select all of them. Now we are going to change the colors. So you right click, you can format data series. When you click on format data series, it is having the cone under the series option. So you saw that it's having cone, which is the full cone. Sometimes it could be partial cone or pyramid. So watch out for those type of questions. So it's full cone. We can change it also, the gap between them, and then the gap depth. Right. And then again, the colors, filling, you go to the fill. Remember the format data series, you have this side, that's the series option. Series option. And then we go here, it has the soft edge and everything, the 3D. Then here is the filling, because you can see from the question, the colors have been changed. So when you go to fill, and then you will see here, vary colors by points, so that the colors will change automatically. Remember, you can fill in the highest also with another color or pattern style. So we do the filling part. Right. So this is what we have here. And then we need to change the annual salary and others. So we click on it and choose the chart element. Then we choose the exit titles so that we can type the names. And then here we change it to annual salary. Right. So basically, this is what the question wanted us to do. Again, there can be a combo graphs as well. We can have combo graphs and other type of graphs. So you must watch out for such type of graphs. Also grade 12, you must watch out for combo graphs and others. Combo graphs is when, let's say, you have other values that you are going to, let's say this is annual salary, and then I also have some monthly salaries. I also have some monthly salaries. All right, and then here is monthly salary. So combo graphs is whereby you have two or more series. Now I want to add this. So you select the cell names, hold down the control key, and then you select the annual salary and monthly salary. Then we can now go to our graphs, more charts, then we choose combo graph. Now, with a combo graph, you have to determine which one should be column and which one should be that. So here, we have clustered column for that, and I can choose clustered lines also. Now, if I want the line to be up, I choose secondary axis, or this one also. Let me choose this one as line. And then with markers, this one should be column. Then okay. So this is a combination of two graphs put together. So this is a combination of two graphs. We call it combo graph. Now, so you have this, this one is for the annual salary, and this side here is for the monthly salary, the scale. Then I can change each of them. Let's say I want this one to be in thousands. I can also change this one to be, let's say, in millions. And here I can change it also in thousands. Right. So this is what we call the combo graph. Two or more data series put together. We call the combo graphs. Right. Now, let's check other questions. So we are done with this question. So watch out for these type of graphs, either combo graph or a normal graph by changing to cone or any other shapes, and then the different variation of colors. Now, we go straight to question 7, which contains also database spreadsheet question. 7.2, that talks about date and time. The 7.2, which talks about date and time. So 7, register. Right. Now, we have here the starting time. Now we want to determine the arrival time. We want to determine the arrival time. Now, whenever you are dealing with times, we will also talk about dates, maybe one of the questions. The question says, the official starting times of these employees are stored in column G. Insert a time function in cell F2 to determine the arrival time by adding 1 hour and 20 minutes to the starting time in column G. Now, meaning you spend 1 hour 30 minutes. So what time will you arrive? That's what the question in simple terms is talking about. So here you can use building block and add all of them. Now, let's try to use the building block and also break it down again. A time contains the hour, the minute, and second. Now, the function for calculating the hour, the minute, and second is like the name, hour for hour, minute for minute, and second for second. Now, we want to extract the hour here, so we use equal sign hour. Then you click on the starting time. You press enter. So the hour of this one is 7. Then we extract the minute. Sorry, minute. We got 30 minutes. And we extract the second of that. So here we have gotten the hour, the minute, and then the second in the building block. Now, according to the question, it says we are going to find the time after we have added how many hours? 1 hour and then 20 minutes. So on the same row, we are going to add our hours. So equal sign, this is the hour that we have, plus 1. So that we got 8 hours here. So we will need this. Then we go there, equal sign. This is the minute plus 30. Is it 30 or 20? 20 minutes. So plus 20. So we have our new hours and then we have our new minutes, but the second remain the same. So we are now going to use our time function. Equal sign time. You click on FX. So where it says the hour, you click on your hour value. Where it says the minute, your final minute value. And where it says the second, we do not touch the second, so you click on this 0. There we go. So we got our right answer. So whenever you use the building block to break it down step by step, your questions becomes easier. Make use of building block, make things easier for you by following or solving the question step by step inside the building block. Now, we can apply the same method when it comes to date calculations. We will talk about that also. Now, again, I want to also take the opportunity and show you how do we calculate the number of hours, number of minutes, and number of seconds. Let's say we have this time. Now I want to find the number of hours between the two. To calculate the number of hours, it should be equal sign, hour function. And then you click on FX. Where it says the serial number, it should be the arrival time minus the start time. So here it gives us 1. We can change it also. So it should be 1 point something. Or alternatively, to get the right answer, it should be this, equal sign. Then you open your bracket. Arrival time minus the start time. You close your bracket times 24. Why 24? Because there are 24 hours within a day. So it's always going to be the arrival time minus the start time. In other words, the bigger time minus the smaller time, all into bracket times 24. So we got a time here. Now we need to change the number format from custom into number so that we can get 1.33. So that's how we calculate the number of hours. Now, how do we calculate the number of seconds? Also, you use the same hour calculation, equal sign, the arrival time minus the start time times 24 times 60. Why times 60? Because you are converting the number of hours into minutes. So to minutes, you say times 60. So this is the number of minutes. Then we change it to number. So there are 80 minutes. Now to change it to second also, equal sign, you open bracket, arrival time minus the start time. You close bracket times 24 times 60 times 60 again. Then you can now change this one to the numbers. So basically, this is how we change the different hours and different minutes and everything, how to calculate them. So this is all about time. Next question, we'll be looking at the date calculation. Now, this is what we talk about time, how you must calculate the second, the minute, and then a particular time as well. Now, remember here, when we are talking about before, you say minus, after, we say plus. So you must take note of that. Right, so that's all about June 2024 question paper. June 2024 question paper for Northwest that you can try your hands on regarding spreadsheet. Now, let me wrap up with other functions. Let's cross-check whether we have covered all the topics. We talk about chart, VH, lookup, text functions, conditional formatting. We talk about time, but not date. We also discuss the count if, and we have not done sum if, basic formatting, and then the percentages. So we'll be looking at that as well. Right. I will take another question, then we end our lesson. So let me pick June 2023 or 2022. Let me check which question contains date. I will check if there's any question that contains date. Yeah, and nested if. Yeah, let me take this question and then we solve together. Right, June 2023 question paper. I will save it as PDF so that my work will be easier. Okay, this is 2022. Right, I will start with the 3.1. Grade 12. Now the first question says, format the column A1 to K1 so that where necessary, the text will be wrapped and merged. Headings should be bold, 14 pt, and centered horizontally and vertically. So we bold, and it should be 14 pt. Horizontally, vertical, like I said, you can right click and choose format cell. Under alignment, you center horizontally and vertically. That's how we do it. Remember, we can also ask you to change the indentation, left indent or right indent, or distributed. You must watch out for that. Right. And then merge and center, and then the directions. So if it's to fill in, you have to do that. Now the next question. Various matriculants can receive a cash amount from the university according to their average percentage obtained in grade 12. Now you have been given different average percentages, and the question says you must insert a nested if function. Now, this one, the number of if conditions, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 4 if conditions. So meaning that you will need to use 3 if functions because there are 4. If there are 5, you have to use 4 as well. Now, it says when the average is from 80 to 100, the value of the bursary should be 18,000. So we are comparing the average value or the average mark. We are comparing the average mark here. So we need to use if statement. So equal sign if, and then you start from the highest value there, which is 80 to 100. So if, then you click on FX, logical text, you click on the average value, the average mark. In this case, we are talking about column or the row 3. So this will be the average value. If L8, let me check. Yeah, if L8 is greater than 79. Why am I using 79? That is because it says 80 to 100. That means 80 is inclusive. 80 is included. So I say if it's greater than 79, so that it will start from 79. So greater than 79. And then the value, if true, according to the question, we must put 18,500. And then the value, if false, you start with another if function. Remember, I said there are 4 conditions. So meaning we have to use 3 if functions. So this is the first if. We are going to the second if. Now, anytime you put the second if, you must open the bracket. And then you go to the formula bar, click inside the open and close bracket. So it says the logical text 2. You click on L8 again. Greater than, let's check the other mark. It should be greater than, it says 75 to 79. So it should be greater than 74. And then the value, if true, we put 10,500. Don't include the rent symbol, please. Then the third one, if you open bracket, inside the value, if false, go to the formula bar again, click inside it. Then it will open the third function argument. And then here the mark again, L8 greater than, it says 70 to 74. So it should be greater than 69. And then the value, if true, should be 7,100. Then now that we have 3 if function, 1, 2, 3, which is nested together, we don't need to put the next if because there are 1, 2, 3, 4 conditions. So the last condition there, we put a statement there, which is the value as 0. We put it here and then okay. It will prompt you to put the bracket, you just say okay. Right. So this is how we do the nested if function. Now, at times you can get a question that says, insert a nested if function. Let's say when the bursaries in 2017 for achievement is more than 1,000, and then the new undergraduate achievement bursary is also more than 20,000, then it should be, it should give you a value called qualified, otherwise non-qualified. Now, I'm just creating another question because it's not there. Now, this one says, they are giving 2 columns. The first one, column O, when the bursary in 2017 is more than 2,000. And then the achievement in column M is also more than 10,000. Then you say you qualified. Otherwise, you do not qualify. You leave it empty. Now, in such situation, because there are 2 conditions, you need to use what we call the nested if. You can use the building block to do that also. So I'll go to building block. Let's say I have my building block here. Now, first of all, I must use what we call the N function because there are 2 conditions. And the conditions are not on the same column. They are on different columns. The first one is column O. And then the second one is in column M. So we are comparing these two, and these two must be met before we put a statement. And such type of questions, we need to use the logical functions also in addition to the if statement. Now, because this condition must be met, we use AND function. So equal sign AND. First logical function is, or the logical text should be, the value here must be greater than 1,000 rand. And then logical 2, the value here as well must be, oh sorry, the first one is not Q6, it's supposed to be this one. And then the value here must also be greater than 10,000. So here it gives me false. So I can autofill. Some are true. Now, after getting your answer true or false, you now use this one as your function here. So let's say I'm putting the function here. Equal sign if, click on FX, and logical text. Now we are comparing this true or false. So logical text will now be this one. If that one is equals to true. Please don't put true in inverted comma, because this one is the result out of the logical function. It is not a text. So if it is equal to true, then we must say qualified. Otherwise, we leave it empty. We press space bar. So this person does not qualify. This one is qualified, and others. So basically, this is how we break this type of questions down. When you have two columns or two conditions in different columns that needs to be met, you use the logical function. We could have also used the OR function as well. First logical text is this one, greater than 1,000. Second one is this one, greater than 10,000. And it's also going to give you true or false. You autofill. Then you use the function if statement. So it could be OR function, or it could be XOR, or it could be NOT function. It could be NOT function also. Right. So they can even give you a question that if the person is not entrepreneur, so it should not give. So you can just use the NOT function, equal sign, NOT. Logical text is this one. If it is not equals to, right, let me type, there should be in inverted comma. Right. So the NOT is just negating. It's negating. Now, after this, then you can now use it to do your functions here. Equal sign if the value here is equals to true, then it's say qualified. Otherwise, leave it empty. So we can also have the NOT function, and then we will be able to put our functions properly. Right, whereby it's negation, NOT, XOR, and others. So take note of the combination of if and then the logical functions as well. Right, let me check if there's any comment that someone is asking. When are we going to do HTML? HTML will be tomorrow together with database. Tomorrow we'll be doing HTML and then database questions, right? Now, insert a date function in cell J6 to determine the number of years since Albert registered. Use the date in M3. Now, the date function should be used in J6 to determine the number of years. And now there's a date given to us, which is the date registered. And then they say we are referring to M3. So M3 is also having a date, which is today's date, current date. Now, whenever you are referring to a certain cell to do your calculations, you must make that cell absolute. So in this case, we have to make this one constant. So I must right click and say define name. I can give it a name as A, like we normally do in VLOOKUP or XLOOKUP. So I've given this one a name. Now I'm going to compare the number of years. If you are calculating the years, we use what we call the year frec. So take note. So I say equal sign year frec. Year frec, you only get it from the 2019 or 365. I'll also show you how to do other calculations, those of you using 2016. But then if you are using 365 or Office 2019, use year frec to do your calculation regarding the years. Now it says the start date. This one is the date registered. So that should be the start date. And then the end date is the bigger value, which is here. So this is the number of years that we have. So 12 years. If I autofill, it's going to calculate for all of them. Now, because the font size is too big, that's why you don't see them properly. Let me make it to be 18. Right. So this is the way we calculate the date or the number of years. We use year frec. Now, we could have achieved the same results by also using what we call year function. So equal sign year, but that one you must use the building block to make your work easier. You can extract it here. Or you can just use year for equal sign year of the bigger value. Then you click on this date. You close the bracket. You press enter. It gives you 2025. Then you go there, the formula bar, and say minus year again. Then you click on that date, the date registered. So it gives me a date. So I need to go to the number format and change it to number. So we can use the year function also to do to solve this type of calculations, right? Now what about the number of months and others? You can use the year frec. After that, then you convert to number of months. And then the days, if you are calculating the days, you use the days function. The days function, you click on FX and say the end date. The end date is this one. The start date is that date given to you. So this is the number of days. We use days function. If you are dealing with the number of years, we use the year frec. So watch out for those type of questions. Again, what about the number of months and number of weeks? We can use the days, then we convert to months. Or we use the year frec. We can use the year frec. The start date is this one. The end date is A. After getting your answer, go to the formula bar. This is the number of years. So we are converting to the number of months. So after that, you say times 12 because there are 12 months within a year. So this will be the number of months, right? And if it's weeks, also you convert it like that. So basically, this is how we do the number of months, the number of weeks. Also the weeks, you can use the days. If you use the days function and then you want to convert to the number of weeks, how many days per week is 7. So here we have the days and we just say divide by 7. Then we get a number of weeks. Right. Basically, this is how we do the days, the number, and others. Now, what about you have a question that says, this is the date registered. And now, the person has spent, or the person or the date registered, the expiry date. We are going to calculate the expiry date. And it said the expiry date will be after 5 years and 20 days. After 5 years and 20 days. So what you need to do is you use the same approach. We use the year function to extract the year from this date. So here we got 2013. You must do that in the building block. And then here we use the month function to extract the month from that date. And then you use the day function, not the days, it's a day function to extract the day from this date given to you. So now we have the day, the month, and then the year. 9th of January 2013. You have it here. Now, the question says after, let's say, 6 years and 20 months. So you now go and put the function here. Equal sign date. Just like the time function. Equal sign date. Then where it says the year, you go and click the answer for the year. Where it says the month, you click there. And where it says the day, you click this one. Now, the question says 6 years and 20 months. So you go to the year and say plus 6. And where it says the month, plus 20. Then you click on OK. So this will be the new date. But then it gives me number, so I might change it to date. This will be the new date. So basically, this is how, when you're given a specific date, then they want you to manipulate to get a specific date again, based on the number of years, weeks, or the number of months. This is how you are going to approach that type of question. And this is the date calculation. So take note, grade 12, for this type of question. Now, the conditional formatting. Okay, it's also talking about the top 10. So it's still the same. We did that. I will skip that one. Now, this question says the text function in column P7. So where is P7? Okay, I think I changed them. It should be this one. Yes, I changed it. So now it is N7. Right. Now, according to the question, we must insert a text function as follows. The student number starts with 14, which is given in the accession number. So we need the 14. So what you need to do is each bullet, you solve it step by step in the building block. So we are going to solve each bullet step by step in the building block. Remember, I told you whenever you are solving this type of question in the building block, it should be on the same row. So let's say I'm putting them here. So we need number 14. I type 14 here. And then the next one, it says the first three letters of the surname. Now the first three letters, meaning I must use a function called left. Whenever you see first, it means left. Equal sign left. You click on FX, then the text, the first three letters of the surname. This is the surname, and the number of characters, I need 3. And then the second question says, followed by the first letter of the home language. So the first letter of the home language, I use left again. The text, I choose the home language. And then 1. And then followed by the gender. Now, I go there. I'm going to add the gender. So I press equal sign. And then I go and click on where the gender is. This is the gender in column E. So now when I have all of them in the building block, I need to put them together, called concatenate. So I go to where I must put the answer, equal sign. I click on the first value, followed by N, which is shift and then 7. I click on the second one, shift and then 7. I click on the third one, shift and 7. I click on the fourth one, then I press enter. So this will be the answer. So whenever you have this type of question, solve it step by step in the building block. Even if the number you need to type it there. If you want to take it from another column, you press equal sign like here, and then you click on the value inside that cell, and it's going to display for you. So this is how we solve another form of text function in step by step. Right. So for 21 marks. Then question 4, currency with no decimal. I don't need to talk about that. To determine the annual growth for Western Cape, I will check that also. And this graph also, I don't need to talk about it because we have discussed the intervals and then the percentage and everything. Right. So I'm only going to focus on this question. So you try your hands on it. I'm going to focus on question 4.4 and then 4.3 as well. So the data is for expenditure. Right. So for expenditure. Now, according to the question, the provincial expenditure data table in the growth worksheet contains the annual percentage growth. So yeah, this is the lookup function here. There's province and percentage. Now, when you come here, they need you to put the percentage here. So you can see it's a lookup function. Now, how do we solve the lookup function? Like I said, we can use X lookup. Give this one a name. Right click, define name. I will give it a name as A. I give this one also name. Right click, define name. I give it as B. Now, when you have this, your work is done. You just come here and choose equal sign, X lookup. Click on FX. The lookup value, we are dealing with the provinces. On the same row, the lookup array A, the return array B. You can click OK. If it gives you hashtag name, it means the match mode, you must put -1. That is all. Now, we could have solved this same question by using what we call the H lookup. Why is it H lookup? Because it's horizontal. You select the data, right click and choose define name. So I can make it as D. So whenever you are using V or H lookup, we select the entire data excluding the headings. And then we come here, we choose the function called lookup. Lookup value is the province. The table, we made it D. Index is second column that we are taking, or the second row, and OK. Right. So that's how we use the H and then the X lookup. Now the next question is saying insert a function in M5 to determine how many cities has no estimated. That means we use a function called those who has no estimated for the year 2014 and 2015 up until 2016. So here is 2014 up until 2016, who has no. So we use count blank spaces. And in the range, I select these values. And OK, so I got 7. Now the next question is talking about the M6 to determine the total estimated amount. So now they are talking about total amount. They didn't say total number. So it is sum if, sum with condition. By those who are from Northwest Province for the year 2016 and 2017. If the amount was more than 40,000. So they have so many conditions. 40,000 and then Northwest. And then we are going to calculate the total of what? Amount spent. So we have to use total amount spent. So we use sum ifs. And it doesn't matter whether it's one condition or not, still use sum ifs. And then you say the sum range. Now the sum range will now be the amount spent. So the amount spent the total estimated amount spent on infrastructure by Northwest for the year 2016 and 2017. So we have to look for the amount spent in 2016 and 2017, which is column J. And the criteria range 1, we are saying Northwest. Where do we find Northwest, which is column B? We select them. Whenever you see range, meaning that you must select, and then the criteria Northwest. So Northwest, Northern Cape also starts with N, but then there's nothing that contains West. So I can type Northwest in full, or I can put star West star. That means contains West. And then the criteria range 2, they are saying when the amount is more than 40,000. So I select the amount. Is greater than 40,000. There we go. So it's sum ifs with 2 criteria that we need to put together. Right. So basically, this is all about the spreadsheet. For this graph is similar to the one that we did by rotating them. Only that this graph has 3 different. Let's check it. It has 3 different. It's already done for you. And now you are modifying, so you are changing the graph. We were supposed to change the graph. So you must select the graph. Then you will see chart design and format. Now, whenever you are changing the graph, when you go to format or chart design, you can change the graph chart. So you go to change type, and then we change it to bar graph. So it's changed to bar graph. And then you can put a legend there. Now here it didn't show the legend. So meaning Instead of the series, you can modify them. When it says select data, it says series 1, series 2. So you can edit this series. To contain 2014, edit to contain this one. So that you have the name. They excluded it, so you need to edit it to include the name. So you must go to select data from chart design, and then you can change them. All right. Now, if there's something that you don't need, you can remove them. Let's say here, I want to remove Mpumalanga. I just remove Mpumalanga from here, and then I click OK. There will not be any Mpumalanga here. Right. So take note of how to do different graph by selecting data, and then you make changes to them. Now, they said only the series, one particular series. So you select one of them there to select that particular series, the rest, and then you change or you add the data series to it or the data labels so that only that one will have data labels. Right. So this is all about graphs and manipulating different graphs. Now, I will conclude the lesson by looking at subtotal. Now, the subtotal question, I excluded it from the scope that I'll add it. It's supposed to be also known, and then the data validation. That is what we call the spreadsheet features. So let's check question 7. Okay, this is also graphs. And then protection. Now, I will look for subtotal question. I think I can use the expenditure. I can use the expenditure to also do the subtotal. Let's say we want to find the total for each year here. We want to find the total for each year based on a province, based on a particular province. So what you need to do is you must first sort your data. So I select only the headings, and then I go to data, or you can see the sorting from here, sort and filter, custom sort. And then we are sorting according to, since we are finding for each province, so I will sort according to province, A to Z. Then after that, I get subtotal from data, and then you see subtotal. Now at each change in, you select the province, the one that you group according to. Then the function that I want to use, the question can tell you whether you must use sum or average or count. Let's say I want to use average. Then I must do the calculation on all the years, so I must take all these. And here, summary below or above. If I remove summary below, it's going to be above. And then if I want page break between the groups, I will take this one. If I want each group to be on different page, and then I click OK. So as you can see here, I'm having Eastern Cape total. They put them together, and it will do calculation for Eastern Cape, average for each. Then I go to Free State, also average for each Free State. Now, whenever you see this icon, meaning that there's a break, that is the break for each page. That's why you see it like that. Gauteng also, KZN, Mpumalanga, and others. So you can see that each of them is having their own group, and then the calculation will be done. So this is what we call the subtotal features. Now, I'll also use another spreadsheet feature called validation rule, and then also lookup. Now, let's say I want to have a lookup to have male and female so that I can choose from it. So first of all, let's have the list here, male and then female. Right. Now I have male and female here. Now I want to put them as a list so that when you click here, you select. So maybe I'll select all the gender. Like options. Then data validation, you'll get it under data, and then you'll see data validation. You'll see it under data validation. Data validation, then you choose data validation. Now, whenever you are choosing a list, where it says allow, you select list. And then you go and select the list source here. You click there. Then you select the source of that list. And then you click OK. So when I go there and I click here, you will see an arrow for me to select all of them. So that's how we do data validation when it is about a list. Now, another type of data validation is whereby they give you a validation rule. Let's say the average mark should not be 0. It should be from 30 to 100. So you select them, and then you go to data validation. Then allow, you choose what we call the whole number. There could be decimal, there could be date. If you are using data validation for date, then you choose start date and end date. If you are choosing data validation for time, also. And then text length, and then to custom it also with the formula. Now here, I want to use the whole number. When the value is between, we have not between, equals to, and so many. So when it is between 30 or 40, and then the maximum is 100. Then we have validation text. Validation text in Spreadsheet, you go to input message, then you type the text. Only values from 40 to 100 are allowed. You can also put it under the error and click OK. So you see that will be the text displayed. If I type 10, it's going to give me an error message. That means I must read the validation text. There was a mistake. Right. So we have this also in Spreadsheet. We call Spreadsheet feature in data validation. Right. So this brings to the end of our lesson. We have covered all the topics. Like I said, I'm going to edit this as well. You have to also know data validation, subtotal, and others. Then also there can be a conditional formatting that involves a formula. Let's say conditional formatting. We are going to highlight this. Let me undo the data validation. We are going to highlight the person's name. If the person achieved a mark that is distinction, 80%. So I will select the names. This is where I'm going to apply. And then I go to conditional formatting from home. And then I go to new rule. Now, this is the formula. Whenever you are comparing two columns, whenever you are comparing with conditional formatting, we go to the compare one, which is the formula here. Now, when you go to the formula, it says format the value in the formula set. So here we are comparing the values for via mark. So I clicked on F, which is L6. And then when I say L6 is greater than or equals to 80. So when a person gets distinction in the average in grade 12, then we must highlight the person's name. So when it's greater or equals to 80, then I must go and remove. This is complete. I must go and remove this. Sometimes it gives a problem, so that L6, you can just type them also L6. It should not have the $sign. L6 is greater or equals to 80. Because we are comparing the value in L6 greater than or equals to 80. Then I go to format. I want to shade the person's name. So as you can see, this person got 54, it did not shade. This person 95. Because I removed the $sign, that is why it goes down like that. Even though the conditional formatting, I use what we call only L6, but it goes like down. It makes it relative for you. So this is how we do conditional formatting when you are comparing two columns. Right. Thank you for your precious time. Don't forget to watch the video again and prepare for your practicals. Grade 12, we are going to have our theory. I promise by Monday, I will send out grade 12 up to grade 11. And then 10, I'll give out the theory questions, sample theory questions to also practice, and we will discuss them from Tuesday. All right. Thank you for your precious time. Goodbye.